The Prophecies of Nostradamus. Century 6. 1. Around the Pyrenees mountains a great throng of foreign people to aid the new king. Near the great temple of Lamas by the Garonne, a Roman chief will fear him in the water. 2. In the year 580 more or less, one will await a very strange century. In the year 703 the heavens witness thereof, that several kingdoms 1 to 5 will make a change. 3. The river that tries the new Celtic air will be in great discord with the empire. The young prince through the ecclesiastical people will remove the scepter of the crown of concord. 4. The Celtic river will change its course. No longer will it include the city of Agrippina. All changed except the old language: Saturn, Leo, Mars, Cancer, and plunder. 5. Very great famine through pestiferous wave. Through long rain the length of the Arctic pole. Samarobrin 100 leagues from the hemisphere. The will live without law exempt from politics. 6. There will appear towards the north, not far from Cancer, the bearded star. Susa, Siena, Boeotia, Eretria. The great one of Rome will die, the night over. 7. Norway and Dacia and the British Isle will be vexed by the united brothers. The Roman chief sprung from Gallic blood, and his forces hurled back into the forests. 8. Those who were in the realm for knowledge will become impoverished at the change of king. Some exiled without support, having no gold. The lettered and letters will not be at a high premium. 9. In the sacred temple scandals will be perpetrated. They will be reckoned as honors and commendations, of one of whom they engrave medals of silver and of gold. The end will be in very strange torments. 10. In a short time the temples with colors of white and black of the two intermixed. Red and yellow ones will carry off theirs from them. Blood, land, plague, famine, fire extinguished by water. 11. The 7 branches will be reduced to 3. The elder ones will be surprised by death. The 2 will be seduced to fratricide. The conspirators will be dead while sleeping. 12. To raise forces to ascend to the empire. In the Vatican the royal blood will hold fast. Flemings, English, Spain with aspire. Against Italy and France will he contend. 13. A doubtful one will not come far from the realm. The greater part will want to uphold him. A capital will not want him to reign at all. He will be unable to bear his great burden. 14. Far from his land a king will lose the battle. At once escaped, pursued, then captured. Ignorant one taken under the golden mail, under false garb, and the enemy surprised. 15. Under the tomb will be found a prince, who will be valued above Nuremberg. The Spanish king in Capricorn thin, deceived and betrayed by the great Wittenberg. 16. That which will be carried off by the young hawk, by the Normans of France and Picardy. The black ones of the temple of the Black Forest place will make an inn and fire of Lombardy. 17. After the files the ass drivers burned, they will be obliged to change diverse garbs. Those of Saturn burned by the millers, except the greater part which will not be covered. 18. The great king abandoned by the physicians. By fate not the Jews' art he remains alive. He and his kindred pushed high in the realm. Pardon given to the race which denies Christ. 19. The true flame will devour the lady, who will want to put the innocent ones to the fire. Before the assault the army is inflamed, when in Seville monster in beef will be seen. 20. The feigned union will be of short duration. Some change, most reformed. In the vessels people will be in suffering. Then Rome will have a new leopard. 21. When those of the Arctic pole are united together. Great terror and fear in the east. Newly elected, the great trembling supported. Rhodes, Byzantium stained with barbarian blood. 22. Within the land of the great heavenly temple. Nephew murdered at London through feigned peace. The bark will then become schismatic. Sham liberty will be proclaimed everywhere. 23. Coins depreciated by the spirit of the realm. And people will be stirred up against their king. New peace made, holy laws become worse. Paris was never in so severe an array. 24. Mars and the scepter will be found conjoined. Under Cancer, calamitous war. Shortly afterwards, a new king will be anointed. One who for a long time will pacify the earth. 25. Through adverse Mars will the monarchy of the great fisherman be in ruinous trouble. The young red-black one will seize the hierarchy. The traitors will act on a day of drizzle. 26. For 4 years the sea will be held with some little good. One libidinous in life will succeed to it. Ravenna, Pisa and Verona will give support, longing to elevate the papal cross. 27. Within the isles of 5 rivers to one. Through the expansion of the great Chiron-Selin. Through the drizzles in the air the fury of one. 6 escaped, hidden bundles of flax. 28. The great Celt will enter Rome, leading a throng of the exiled and banished. The great pastor will put to death every man who was united at the Alps for the cock. 29. The saintly widow hearing the news of her offspring placed in perplexity and trouble. He who will be instructed to appease the quarrels. He will pile them up by his pursuit of the shaven heads. 30. Through the appearance of the feigned sanctity. The siege will be betrayed to the enemies. In the night when they trusted to sleep in safety. Near Brabant will march those of Liege. 31. The king will find that which he desired so much. When the prelate will be blamed unjustly. His reply to the duke will leave him dissatisfied. He who in Milan will put several to death. 32. Beaten to death by rods for treason. Captured he will be overcome through his disorder. Frivolous counsel held out to the great captive. When Barich will come to bite his nose in fury. 33. His last hand through sanguinary. He will be unable to protect himself by sea. Between 2 rivers he will fear the military hand. The black and irate one will make him rue it. 34. The device of flying fire will come to trouble the great besieged chief. Within there will be such sedition that the profligate ones will be in despair. 35. Near the bear and close to the white wool. Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Mars, Jupiter, the sun will burn a great plain. Woods and cities letters hidden in the candle. 36. Neither good nor evil through terrestrial battle will reach the confines of Perugia. Pisa to rebel, Florence to see an evil existence. King by night wounded on a mule with black housing. 37. The ancient work will be finished. Evil ruin will fall upon the great one from the roof. Dead they will accuse an innocent one of the deed. The guilty one hidden in the copse in the drizzle. 38. The enemies of peace to the profligates. After having conquered Italy, the bloodthirsty black one, red, will be exposed. Fire, blood shed, water colored by blood. 39. The child of the realm through the capture of his father will be plundered to deliver him. Near the lake of Perugia the azure captive. The hostage troop to become far too drunk. 40. To quench the great thirst the great one of Mainz will be deprived of his great dignity. Those of Cologne will come to complain so loudly that the great rump will be thrown into the Rhine. 41. The second chief of the realm of Emmark, through those of Frisia and of the British Isle, will spend more than 100,000 marks, exploiting in vain the voyage to Italy. 42. To Ogmios will be left the realm of the great Selin, who will in fact do more. Throughout Italy will he extend his banner. He will be ruled by a prudent deformed one. 43. For a long time will she remain uninhabited. Around where the Seine and the Marne she comes to water, tried by the Thames and warriors, the guards deceived and trusting in the repulse. 44. By night the rainbow will appear for naughts. By marine arts they will stir up rain. In the Gulf of Arabia a great fleet will plunge to the bottom. In Saxony a monster will be born of a bear and a sow. 45. The very learned governor of the realm, not wishing to consent to the royal deed, the fleet at Melia through contrary wind, will deliver him to his most disloyal one. 46. A just one will be sent back again into exile, through pestilence to the confines of Nonsegel. His reply to the red one will cause him to be misled, the king withdrawing to the frog and the eagle. 47. The two great ones assembled between two mountains will abandon their secret quarrel, Brussels and Dole overcome by Langres, to execute their plague at Malines. 48. The two false and seductive sanctity, accompanied by an eloquent tongue, the old city and Parma too premature, Florence and Siena they will render more desert. 49. The great pontiff of the party of Mars will subjugate the confines of the Danube, the cross to pursue through sword, hook or crook, captives, gold, jewels more than 100,000 rubies. 50. Within the pit will be found the bones. Incest will be committed by the stepmother. The state changed, they will demand fame and praise, and they will have Mars attending as their star. 51. People assembled to see a new spectacle. Princes and kings amongst many bystanders. Pillars, walls to fall, but as by a miracle. The king saved and 30 of the ones present. 52. In place of the great one who will be condemned. Outside the prison, his friend in his place. The Trojan hope in 6 months joined, born dead. The sun in the Erne rivers will be frozen. 53. The great Celtic prelate suspected by the king. By night in flight he will leave the realm, through a duke fruitful for his great British king. Byzantium to Cyprus and Tunis unsuspected. 54. At daybreak at the second crowing of the cock, those of Tunis, of Fez and of Bougie, by the Arabs the king of Morocco captured. The year 1607 of the liturgy. 55. By the appeased duke in drawing up the contract. Arabesque sails seen, sudden discovery. Tripoli, Chios, and those of Trebizond. Duke captured, the Black Sea and the city a desert. 56. The dreaded army of the Narbonne enemy will frighten very greatly the Hesperians. Perpignan empty through the blind one of Arbon. Then Barcelona by sea will take up the quarrel. 57. He who was well forward in the realm, having a red chief close to the hierarchy, harsh and cruel, and he will make himself much feared. He will succeed to the sacred monarchy. 58. Between the two distant monarchs, when the clear sun is lost through Selin, great enmity between two indignant ones, so that liberty is restored to the Isles and Siena. 59. The lady in fury through rage of adultery, she will come to conspire not to tell her prince, but soon will the blame be made known, so that 17 will be put to martyrdom. 60. The prince outside his Celtic land will be betrayed, deceived by the interpreter. Rouen, La Rochelle through those of Brittany. At the port of Blaye deceived by monk and priest. 61. The great carpet folded will not show, but by have the greatest part of history. Driven far out of the realm he will appear harsh, so that everyone will come to believe in his warlike deed. 62. Too late both the flowers will be lost, The serpent will not want to act against the law. The forces of the Leaguers confounded by the French. Savona, Albenga through Monaco great martyrdom. 63. The lady left alone in the realm. By the unique one extinguished first on the bed of honor. 7 years will she be weeping in grief. Then with great good fortune for the realm long life. 64. No peace agreed upon will be kept. All the subscribers will act with deceit. In peace and truce, land and sea in protest. By Barcelona fleet seized with ingenuity. 65. Grey and brown in half-opened war. By night they will be assaulted and pillaged. The brown captured will pass through the lock. His temple opened, 2 slipped in the plaster. 66. At the foundation of the new sect. The bones of the great Roman will be found. A sepulchre covered by marble will appear. Earth to quake in April poorly buried. 67. Quite another one will attain to the great empire. Kindness distant more so happiness. Ruled by one sprung not far from the brothel. Realms to decay great bad luck. 68. When the soldiers in a seditious fury will cause steel to flash by night against their chief. The enemy Alba acts with furious hand. Then to vex Rome and seduce the principal ones. 69. The great pity will occur before long. Those who gave will be obliged to take. Naked, starving, withstanding cold and thirst. To pass over the mountains committing a great scandal. 70. Chief of the world will the great Chiron be. Plus ultra behind, loved, feared, dreaded. His fame and praise will go beyond the heavens. And with the sole title of victor will he be quite satisfied. 71. When they will come to give the last rites to the great king. Before he has entirely given up the ghost. He who will come to grieve over him the least. Through lions, eagles, cross, crown sold. 72. Through feigned fury of divine emotion. The wife of the great one will be violated. The judges wishing to condemn such a doctrine. She is sacrificed a victim to the ignorant people. 73. In a great city a monk and artisan. Lodged near the gate and walls. Secret speaking emptily against Medina. Betrayed for acting under the guise of nuptials. 74. She chased out will return to the realm. Her enemies found to be conspirators. More than ever her time will triumph. 73 to death very sure. 75. The great pilot will be commissioned by the king. To leave the fleet to fill a higher post. 7 years after he will be in rebellion. Venice will come to fear the barbarian army. 76. The ancient city the creation of Antenor. Being no longer able to bear the tyrant. The feigned handle in the temple to cut a throat. The people will come to put his followers to death. 77. Through the fraudulent victory of the deceived. 2 fleets 1 German revolt. The chief murdered and his son in the tent. Florence and Imola pursued into Romania. 78. To proclaim the victory of the great expanding Selen. By the Romans will the eagle be demanded. Pavia, Milan and Genoa will not consent thereto. Then by themselves the great lord claimed. 79. Near the Ticino the inhabitants of the Loire. Garonne and Saône, the Seine, the Taine and Gironda. They will erect a promontory beyond the mountains. Conflict given, enlarged, submerged in the wave. 80. From Fez the realm will reach those of Europe. Their city ablaze and the blade will cut. The great one of Asia by land and sea with great troop. So that blues and Persians the cross will pursue to death. 81. Tears, cries and laments, howls, terror. Hard and human, cruel, black and chilly. Lake of Geneva the isles, of Genoa the notables. Blood to pour out, wheat famine to none mercy. 82. Through the deserts of the free and wild place. The nephew of the great pontiff will come to wander, felled by 7 with a heavy club, by those who afterwards will occupy the chalice. 83. He who will have so much honor and flattery at his entry into Belgian Gaul, a while after he will act very rudely, and he will act very warlike against the flower. 84. The lame one, he who lame could not reign in Sparta. He will do much through seductive means, so that by the short and long he will be accused of making his perspective against the king. 85. The great city of Tarsus by the Gauls will be destroyed, all of the turbaned captives, helped by sea from the great one of Portugal. First day of summer Urban's consecration. 86. The great prelate one day after his dream interpreted opposite to its meaning. From Gascony a monk will come unexpectedly, one who will cause the great prelate of Sens to be elected. 87. The election made in Frankfurt will be voided, Milan will be opposed. The follower closer will seem so very strong that he will drive him out into the marshes beyond the Rhine. 88. A great realm will be left desolated. Near the Ebro an assembly will be formed. The Pyrenees mountains will console him. When in May lands will be trembling. 89. Feet and hands bound between 2 boats. Face anointed with honey, and sustained with milk. Wasps and flies, paternal love vexed. Cupbearer to falsify, chalice tried. 90. The stinking abominable disgrace. After the deed he will be congratulated. The great excuse for not being favorable. That Neptune will not be persuaded to peace. 91. Of the leader of the naval war. Read one unbridled, severe, horrible whim. Captive escaped from the elder one in the bale, when there will be born a son to the great Agrippa. 92. Prince of beauty so comely. Around his head a plot, the second deed betrayed. The city to the sword and dust the face burnt. Through 2 great murder the head of the king hated. 93. The greedy prelate deceived by ambition. He will come to reckon nothing too much for him. He and his messengers completely trapped. He who cut the wood sees all in reverse. 94. A king will be angry with the sea breakers, when arms of war will be prohibited. The poison tainted in the sugar for the strawberries. Murdered by waters, dead, saying land, land. 95. Calumny against the cadet by the detractor, when enormous and warlike deeds will take place. The least part doubtful for the elder one. And soon in the realm there will be partisan deeds. 96. Great city abandoned to the soldiers. Never was mortal tumult so close to it. Oh, what a hideous calamity draws near. Except one offense nothing will be spared it. 97. At 45 degrees the sky will burn. Fire to approach the great new city. In an instant a great scattered flame will leap up, when one will want to demand proof of the Normans. 98. Ruin for the Volsci so very terrible with fear. Their great city stained, pestilential deed. To plunder sun and moon and to violate their temples. And to redden the 2 rivers flowing with blood. 99. The learned enemy will find himself confused. His great army sick, and defeated by ambushes. The Pyrenees and Pennine Alps will be denied him, discovering near the river ancient jugs. 100. Incantation of the law against inept critics. Let those who read this verse consider it profoundly. Let the profane and the ignorant herd keep away. And far away all astrologers, idiots and barbarians. May he who does otherwise be subject to the sacred rite.